Yeah, I know.
Hello, hello. Hey, welcome. Thank you. First of all, thank you for all your time to come to join our session. And this session is actually unlocking the success of navigating the tyranny of the growing business in China. So my name is Jackie, and I'm with Pattern for APAC, leading specializing for China partnership, relationship, and also programs. And today we're going to have Ben from Alibaba, Timo Global, specializing for cross-border, that will share with us a lot of the nuance and then, from platform's perspective of the knowledge. And we also have two of our long-term partnership and brand partners, Swanson and Alliance Pharma with us today, which is Jim and Richard. So welcome. And I think, as from a quick introduction, I would just let, all three of you guys to start getting a little bit of the introduction of who you guys are and then what your companies do, and then, we'll go from there. And start from Ben?
Sure. All right, hi everyone. My name is Ben Liu. It's such a great honor to have the opportunity here to talk with you. So I'm the Director of Business Development from Alibaba Group Timo Global. Our team based in LA in California, and our function is actually to help the brands here to establish their presence and their product distribution to Chinese consumers. So the platform, Timo Global, is actually the cross-border e-commerce gateway from Alibaba Group's ecosystem. And currently, we are the biggest and most trusted platform in China. We cover almost like 40% of the overall cross-border e-commerce to Chinese consumers. And with Alibaba, we have a lot of infrastructures from logistics, data services, all the way to like innovative tools and maybe IP protection as well. They're all at your disposal. And for the past years, we've been collaborating with Pattern on a lot of cases. Those are very successful. So if you were to be interested in bringing your products to China, come talk with us.
And Jim and Rich?
Hello, so I'm Richard Norton. As you can hear, I'm an Englishman. So I work in the UK down in the southwest, a place called Chippenham for Alliance Pharmaceuticals. And I've been in my current role as head of global e-commerce for just shy of 5 years now, but doing an awful lot of work with China. China's our most important market. And I work on a brand called Kelacote for scars, scar treatment and prevention. And it's a very large business in China. We originally launched it back in 2007, and we started working with Pattern and the Pattern team in 2021. So it's great to be here. Managed to arrive a few days early, do some hiking in Utah, and it's what a great state and some fantastic scenery. So thanks for the invite for the panel.
I thought you were going to take 20 minutes.
No.
My name is Jim Hamill, and I'm the CEO of Swanson Health Products based in Fargo, North Dakota. World headquarters, Fargo, North Dakota. Yes, you laugh. And I started out there 5 years ago as the CFO and to help build our international business, and therefore why we are with Pattern. So we're a $300 million health and wellness business, vitamins and supplements, globally. Vision of being the most authentic and trusted wellness partner on the planet. Aaron, don't roll your eyes back. I know I took some liberties with that vision statement. We are concentrated in 4 clear channels, which is direct-to-consumer in the US. And then we have a marketplaces business that we are now partnering with Pattern on in the US. Amazon, Walmart, Target, eBay. We have an international business, which is thriving. Actually, the growth last year was over 65%. In another area where we are partnering with Pattern. I know this sounds like a Pattern infomercial, but they've been an amazing partner there. And then we're playing around a little bit in a sandbox called retail. Because even though 60% of vitamins and supplements are sold in brick and mortar stores, we're not there. So we have a regional player that we are introducing our brand into retail and testing and learning in that environment as well. Lee Swanson, 55 years ago this summer, had some achy joints, and he wanted to keep golfing. So he started doing some research and started taking vitamin E and glucosamine, and here we are 55 years later with 1,200 Swanson products. A lot of them are still the same products from 55 years ago that he traveled the world to find solutions for. And some of them have morphed. So his glucosamine is now my mega glucosamine. Mega, not mega. We don't want to alienate 50% of the population there. So yeah, and we welcome you to get to know Swanson, as Pattern is helping us do in many markets across the planet.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the brief introduction of yourself. Just kidding. So I think, yeah. Yeah, we'll probably need more time. So I think, go back to Ben, I think, throughout this entire, because, both of Swanson and, Alliance Pharma, Kilo-Cote, both were being in China over 5 years, which means that it's probably been through all different kind of the dynamics, right? Before COVID, after COVID. Yeah. Like from a China platform, the biggest China platform perspective, can you be able to share with us a little bit more about what do you guys see and what do you guys observe? Like there's any of the consumer shopping behavior changes or any of the, different kind of the category growth and vice versa?
Yeah, I believe, Jackie, you're right. There's a lot of things going on in the past 2 years, and here are some data I'd like to share with everyone. So, first let's talk about the broad picture, okay? So by 2023 in China, there are like 1 billion online shoppers, among which we have 178 million people. They're actually purchasing overseas products through cross-border e-commerce. These people are well educated. They're like the top 20%, so they have good money and they want quality products. So you can see the constant growth of this trend. And also, when we compare this number to the overall online shopper population here in the States, which I believe is 274.7 million people, it's almost like 50%. So we can see that nowadays, if you're not selling your products to China through cross-border e-commerce, you're missing out a market with the size of half the United States. And category-wise, the pandemic really reshaped the consumer behavior. So right now in China, people talk a lot about wellness, about health, and they want products with features like maybe USDA regulated, all natural, non-GMO. And because of that, we're seeing a surging in the sales in the categories of supplements and also in health products. And people want the products that is maybe certified organics with innovative ingredients and formulation. So one example is actually MMN. MMN is selling a lot on our platform, and right now cross-border e-commerce is the only way to get the product distributed to China legally. And other than that, I would say food category and also personal care grow quite a lot. And personally, I consider pet food and pet supplements has a lot of huge potential in the future. And one common feature for all the categories I just mentioned is like they're heavily regulated by US government and agencies, right? So from manufacturing, ingredients, formulation, all the way even to marketing and branding. So that actually brings a lot of confidence to the consumers. And I think that's also one of the factors that make Kilo-Cote and Swanson very, very successful on our platform as well. So these are some of the trends we are seeing on the platform. Hope they're helpful.
Thank you, thank you. Great, very, very insightful. So I think both of Jim and Rich, you both actually mentioned about you've actually entered to China several years. So are you guys aware? Because I'm sure that you probably don't operate it by yourself, but are you guys like specific aware of which channels or which marketplaces you guys are currently on in China? Because I'm sure like many of the brands are probably not knowing too much or too many about where are they selling to, where are really selling on. Yeah, so you want to start from Jim a little bit?
Sure. So Tmall, where our consumer target is primarily women. JD, where our target is primarily male. Red, TikTok, PDD. So we're across a variety of platforms in China with the support of our Pattern team.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, I think Ben's point, I mean, I think there's a lot of negative press about China's growth slowing, et cetera, but the market is enormous, yeah? So there's 700 million middle-class people. and they love buying health and beauty products. They love buying fashion products, etc. I think the stat is something from the Double 11 Singles Day Festival that happens every year in 11, which was created by Alibaba Group. I think in 1 or 2 hours of trading on Singles Day, it's the equivalent to the entire Prime Day in the US. It just shows you the scale. And I think it's interesting when Kelo-Cote was launched back in 2007, it started being sold in hospitals to doctors. And you know, that was where the expectation, you know, that doctors would prescribe it, etc. 5-6 years ago, we launched domestically in e-commerce, and now the domestic sales are around 70% online, 30% in hospitals. And obviously, we started working in 2021 with Pattern to launch on cross-border. So we have a domestic Chinese business with the Chinese language pack, and then we import a European international pack with English, etc., on cross-border. And we have a very large chunk of sales on Tmall, Alibaba Group. JD.com is also very important, but also the new emerging marketplaces like Pinduoduo, PDD. It's growing very, very fast. I'm very excited about the opportunities in Douyin, TikTok. We can't yet sell on it, but Arthur's assuring me from the Chinese team he'll get that approval very soon. And you know, all the sort of channels that you've been talking about for Swanson, you know, it's very important. You know, Little Red Book, Kuaishou, etc. So I think it's a much more complex ecosystem than the US, where, you know, Amazon is so important. You know, you have a very different set of marketplaces that you need to be successful on in China.
I'm actually very impressed that, you know, both of the brand partners are very aware of, you know, which marketplaces and which channels they're actually selling on. Because throughout my previous life, I worked for Alibaba before as well. I think lots of the questions that, what I heard, you know, from the brands partners that have been complaints that we don't really know where we're selling to. You know, we just know we ship it to a distributor, to trade partners, but where they're really taking us onto is like, we're really not sure. We know Tmall and, oh, what else? Not sure. So yeah, I mean, I'm just glad that, you know, both of you guys are at least, you know, I feel like we've done our job, that, you know, basically providing you with all the information that I think it's very essential, right, to the brand partners, that at least you know where we're selling to, and then from a strategy perspective, and I hope that we're actually tailored to, you know, what we're, you know, assuming we're actually working on as well. Yeah. Great. I think, you know, through this, because both of you guys are basically very like a veteran, right? So a veteran of the e-commerce as well yourself. So what is actually like the differences that you feel from the domestic here versus the China? Like, can you tell us a little bit of the nuance? Or, you know, when you conduct a business, what's the considerations, you know, to different markets?
Go ahead. Okay. Yeah, I think there's quite a few differences. I mean, I think one of the big ones that I see is the huge impact of live streaming in China. So Alibaba in particular have a very sophisticated live stream offer, which so you know, you can showcase your product, demonstrate the product, talk about the product, and that generates direct sales. And on Amazon, there's no similar system. And I think it just shows the sophistication of online in China. It's incredible. And I think a lot of people don't realize how sophisticated it is. I think also, in my mind, you obviously have the marketplaces like Tmall and JD, but also you have to work very closely with the platforms themselves, because they have got very important stores. So in my world, in healthcare, there's something called Ali Health that Alibaba run, which is a huge sort of supermarket for health products. So it's about having very strong flagship stores where you showcase your brand. So like Pattern run a Kelo-Cote flagship store on our behalf, but also having those very strong relationships with institutions. So Ali, JD, etc. Because Ali Supermarket, JD Supermarket, Ali Health, those what we call institutional platforms are really important. And so that again is quite different from what you see in Europe or North America.
And Jim?
Yeah, I think in China for us, we were there for 14 years before we met Pattern. And I just remember looking at the results, and it looked like the dying patient. It was load up on inventory, hold on inventory, load up on inventory, get rid of inventory. And what Pattern did when they came with us to China, which I really appreciated, is they just looked at our brand with a very independent lens. And what was the positioning and the pricing of a brand that's always been very value in the US, high quality, authentic, trusted, but value, lower price point, probably 3, on a scale of 1 to 10, about 3 in the US. Pattern helps us position our brand with the product offering and the way they went to the market so that it's now more of a premium, affordable product. So it's priced higher, and that gives us a lot more opportunity for marketing our brand and letting people see a little bit more about Swanson. And that was ultra important for us to grow in China. I'd say the authenticity and trust is also ultra critical in China. It's important in the US too, but even more so in China, where you don't send product over without a full shelf life left on the bottle, no blemish on the bottle, no scratch, no defects in any way, shape, or form in terms of how the product looks, because everybody really has a keen eye for authentic and trusted and making sure it's an original. So we have to just really up our game and make sure that the product we're sending over there to Pattern is perfect.
Thank you, thank you. So I think both of you guys actually mentioned about, what Pattern has been provided that, like, I think, in the United States or in North America, e-commerce system, do you feel like, is there anything that China can also improve, or is there anything that you would like, you think, right, from a brand partner's perspective, anything that you would want to see in China in the future? Like maybe some turnkeys or some, levers that you would like to
I think brand protection is so important in the Chinese market because there is a lot of fakes going on in China which have to be controlled, and I think that's why it's been great working with Pattern to bring those counterfeit products under control, because if you don't have an active or keep a close eye on the market, things can go out of control very quickly. And I think it's been great to see Alibaba's brand protection and anti-counterfeit efforts in the last few years, which is great for international brands like us, because the key thing is, we want our brand protected. We don't want unsafe products getting into the hands of consumers and consumers using them. So one of the things I'd really advocate is a very strong brand protection effort across all channels. And I think that's something that the Chinese government, the Chinese authorities are starting to get behind, but I think in time they need to do more to protect brands. But great job by Alibaba. I think they're moving in the direction to help international brands like ours.
I see. So from a brand perspective, would you guys be like, coming to the idea of, wanting to, let's say if you guys having the catalog expansion that you would like to do in China, and I know that both of you guys probably work with different trade partners before. I don't know, I'm just like taking a guess here. But from your experiences, what did Pattern actually done a little differently compared with, whoever you've actually, worked with before? Like, what is the major experiences for you to feel like, wow, this is maybe the turnkey that helping us to actually, accelerating even more and better than before?
I'd say pinpointing what products within our portfolio are going to be the most important for the Chinese consumer and giving us data on what's trending and what's important and where there's white space. So while we have 1,200 SKUs, Pattern came to us and said, you need a prenatal. You need a prenatal before Singles Day. And so we hammered that one out and got it to them right in time for Pattern's mom and baby storefront that they put up in China. And that's really, really critical to our growth as well, is hearing what's trending and hearing not only what we do have that fits, but where there's white space and what's missing that we need to go out and get after and be first. So it's just the data and the information that we're getting as a business partner from Pattern that's really helping us to be where the consumer wants us to be in the China market.
Yeah, and I'd reiterate data. It's sort of the raison d'etre for Pattern. I think they're very strong in data and analytics, and I hear that there's plans to improve the data offering in for Chinese customers as well. So that's very exciting. I think for KeelerCoat specifically, I mean, Arthur and his team have done a fantastic job online, but also they've built a tremendous offline B2B business for it. I don't know if people are aware, but China is a very complex ecosystem. You have Macau, you have Hainan Island, you have Hong Kong. It's all interlinked, and you know, certainly for KeelerCoat, the offline market was really important, and Pattern have done a tremendous amount over the last 18 months to build that capability, because you can't just ignore it. And yeah, sure, online is very, very important, but if you can also accelerate your business with that offline B2B business, because there are a lot of traders, obviously, who sell online and on things like Taobao, the Alibaba marketplace, that's important. And I think, yeah, the Pattern China team have done a great job on that, really accelerating. I think there's super opportunities for the future as well.
And I think we also previously briefly chit-chat a little bit about how Pattern also innovating an idea, right, to help KeelerCoat to really managing or differentiating or managing the channels, right? Because you mentioned that you had the hospital channel before, and then you have the online business before. So how did Pattern actually specifically helping you to managing that kind of the channel, putting a sticker, differentiating? I think you briefly talked about that before.
Yeah, it was interesting. We went to Pinduoduo a couple of months ago, and the way that the business is structured is quite different. So on Tmall, Alibaba's marketplace, you have one flagship store. On Pinduoduo, you have many. And it was interesting, the idea that came from that visit is like, okay, why don't we have differentiated offerings? Because if you have a scar because you're having cosmetic surgery, which is very popular in China, or you have a scar because you're having a cesarean section, or you've got a scar because your son or daughter has had an accident maybe, or they've had a burn or something. And it's getting that bespoke content for these individual stores, and using all the various AI tools that the platforms can offer as well. So I think it's going to be really interesting, that move to sort of more behavioral targeting, and moving away from more of a price message to that behavioral angle. So I think that's going to be really interesting over the next few years.
Okay. So I think, let me summarizing a little bit from what I heard. The message keys is like Pattern actually helps both of the brands repositioning to where you guys are supposed to be, and also maintaining that kind of the price point to make sure that everybody has a certain and healthy margins to keep the operation investments, marketing investment keep on running, to basically prolong and maintaining the health relationship and cycle for the business. Okay. I think, from what Jim and also Rich mentioned, one of the things that brand partners has been on the back of their mind, also concern is pirate products, right? Protections, IPs. How can China government protecting cross-border if it's not registered in China, and how the major marketplaces can be able to help to protect and providing the services? Do you want to share and elaborating that a little more from platforms?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's a very important topic. And from Alibaba's side, first, I always believe like the best way to help a brand is also the best way to protect your brand. It's the same thing. People always say like the best defense is advance, right? So the best way to protect your brand is actually to go there, to establish its presence. And let's speak about the defense first. So with Alibaba, we have the IPPP, which is intellectual property right protection platform. So should there be like a case, right? Just go there, file a complaint, and the platform will connect you with our legal team, and they can get the job done very fast. And besides, we have innovative AI tools to help you actually increase your brand presence. So we have two functions. One is called Guess You Like It. The other is AI customized front page on all the Alibaba apps. So we have been seeing very good conversion rates on through both functions. And also we have the AI content creation. You can see the bar photo is actually, we input the prompt of a brand name and also like a brand story. And this is like the content AI created. So we're gonna put more of the AI power in practice to help the brands actually reaching out to consumers. And also we have the the AI marketing tools, we have the platform. So the marketing tools from Alibaba is called AliMama. So you can find all kinds of AI tools on the platform as well. And please go to the next page.
Next page, next page.
Next slide.
Oh.
Yeah. And here, actually, we have the whole workflow to help the brands to expedite their process to be successful in China. So first, we have the gateway to China, which is Tmall Global, our team. So if you guys would be interested or have any question, just reach out to us. Find us on LinkedIn or just give me a call. And we're going to work with you to put all the infrastructures and tools in place to tailor fit like a startup plan for the brands. And after we reach the first phase, which is incubation and some initial results, we can go even further. Just like Richard just mentioned, we have the Alibaba House. We have the Tmall main website, and also we have the fancy shopping malls, online, offline grocery stores. So there's endless possibility. The beauty of it is just like it's one stop, it's in-house, it's all under one Alibaba umbrella. So we're gonna work with you all the way through each step. You don't have to go around, shopping everywhere. So by this way, this will be the best solution to accelerate the brand to establish their presence in China. And personally, I think this is even better than IPPP. Yeah.
So I think one thing interesting that, our last session was talking about the AI, and then AI is just being phenomenal topics, like wherever we go, right? One thing I would also like to chime in and also share is that as pattern, the trade partners, the Go partners of Alibaba's, we're also fully utilizing the AI technology to generating the content. So one thing I found it very interesting was that we helped Swanson to basically, basically both of their contents are generating half AI, half enhancements manually, of course, touch up. But one thing I memorizing very specifically was that before we take on their case, the content was as a reborn child, from an egg. And, when we're first seeing that kind of the message, we're not sure if we're reading this right. So is it selling prenatal or is it selling for incubation kind of the stuff? But it was just interesting that, and we refreshing up everything to AI contents. It presented with a pregnant mom and cater in the nature of the background. So I think that kind of the message not just from the gallery perspective, from photo gallery perspective, but it really proving that how to utilize what the tools that the platform can be able to provide is also very important, because AI can also be a very roughly of the AI, you got 6 fingers versus 5 fingers, right? So that kind of the detail actually really is resonating and hitting hard to China consumers at this point, because in China consumer, I think Ben and all of you guys know, they're very nitpicking. They wanted to know what's the ingredients inside, what's the intake that their child is actually taking, what kind of the things in scar gels that penetrating onto the skin, is it really going to be just fully chemical, or is it going to be a healthy perspective level? So China consumer, in essential, I think they're very tech savvy, not just tech savvy, but ingredient savvy, function savvy. In every other way, they want to know how is it going to be done? Why is it doing that? And then in terms of the percentage, sometimes, right, the bloggers all talking about very specifically about your products, probably even better than both of you can. I don't know if you ever, have you ever been invited to our live streaming before?
Yes.
How was the experience? You want to share a little?
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, we did a live stream with the team in London for Singles Day, 11/11. And we did a live demo of Kilico, and it was great. So I think it's something like 150,000 or 200,000 people watched us live.
Oh.
We did a little bit of promo on it.
How many people contact you afterwards?
Well, I don't know, but it was. I think we sold quite a few packs from that event. So I think it's a great thing to do, and I'd certainly encourage any management to go out and do it. It's out of the comfort zone a bit, because you're sort of live demoing and it's getting translated real time to Chinese. But it's really fun and it really works. Yeah. So, and I think a lot of Chinese consumers really respect if the management team participates in live streaming, because it adds credibility.
What kind of the questions that they've actually asked during the live streaming?
how does it work? How do you use it? How often do you use it? Does it really work? All that sort of stuff. So it's real. How do I get hold of it? How do I buy it? So yeah, it's really good thing to do. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. So it's myself and the global head of brand participated.
And Jim, you hadn't got a chance yet.
No, I think it would be a great project for my team, though. I'll set it all up with you, Jackie.
Thank you. Yeah, I think, it's actually a great panel, and I think Ben, actually illustrating lots of the different kind of a channel infrastructure about Alibaba. But I think if you can be able to elaborate a little more about when you say Tmall, Alibaba Health, Fresh Hippo, can you elaborating a little more, like what type of the scale or what type of the usage function each one of them, actually more suitable for different size of the business maybe, or a different category. I think, because we have many different category owners or brand partners here, probably will give them a little more of the insights to what's their function are.
Of course. So for the 5 sub-companies and platforms I just mentioned here, you can consider Tmall as the next step from Tmall Global. So Tmall Global would be your first trial, bring your products to China through cross-border e-commerce. But once we reach certain threshold, you can just do traditional importing, like containers of products directly go through customs and go to China. And then with Tmall, you will be able to obtain like more traffic. The consumers, they will be receiving their products like a little bit faster, and you'll have more exposure single stay as well. And for Alibaba Health is our in-house online and offline pharmacy services. So basically, for a product like Kilo-Cote, people use it to cure the scars, right? So it's more suitable for products with such kind of functions to get present into Alibaba Health. And Freshippo is our, you can consider that as Whole Foods in China. So if you are selling products from food category, you can have like offline presence in Freshippo as well. And for the bottom 2, they are like luxury retail groups. So for example, if you have home products or some related other category products, you can show your product offline in retail stores as well. Yep.
I think it's just worth mentioning, I don't know if everyone understands the difference between domestic e-commerce and for China and cross-border e-commerce, because certainly for us in the supplement space and in healthcare products, so if you can register products with the Chinese drug authorities, it takes 3-4 years, maybe sometimes shorter for certain categories. But cross-border e-commerce is a great shortcut, and I'll give you an example. So Patent have just launched Amberen. This is a US menopause brand for us, and it would have taken 4 or 5 years to register that domestically with a Chinese label pack. So literally within a few weeks, we can get it sold and being bought by Chinese consumers. So, and it therefore appeals to those Chinese consumers that want international brands. So certainly for more regulated categories, it's a fantastic shortcut to get supplements, medical devices, etc., into the hands of Chinese consumers, because otherwise, if you're just relying on a domestic route, it can take you a long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've actually heard about for the fully registering to China, that's what they call the certificate as of Blue Hat, right?
Yeah, Blue Hat.
And you mentioned it's gonna take 3 to 5 years to get Blue Hat certificate, just from a brand perspective, or as a from per product perspective, per SKU level perspective? For
us, it's per SKU, and it can take up to 8 years.
Wow, 8 years to get one SKU approved to get the Blue Hat certificate.
Yeah, a single ingredient SKU would be something pretty simple, like 2 to 3 years. But something that's much more complicated is going to be pretty significant in terms of time frame. So to your point, it's the only way we can get in there and get our brand in front of the consumer. Australia the same way with TGA certifications.
Got it. Well, thank you very much for sharing a lot of things. I think today, the last but not least, like, do you have any of the advices, to the brand partners or to, all the folks here, is that, do you have any tips or advices that you would like to share, whether, they're about to enter into China or they are about to accelerating that, or if they're not happy, it's like, just any tips and advices that you would like to share today at the end?
Yeah, I have a couple of advices. First would be like, just go take the first step. I know it could be scary for some of you, but just go do it, okay?
Pep talk.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay to not to do it like today or this week or even this month, but you have to have a plan to get your products in China within a year or two, or you're gonna lose this opportunity forever. Because you know what? If you don't go there, who is gonna go there? Your competitors, and they're gonna take these 178 million high-quality online shoppers. So I believe nobody wants that, right? And another thing would be to rely on, the good partners. So Pattern and Alibaba, we have been working together for many years, and there's a lot of success. We help a lot of brands to be very successful in China. I would say these cases are very valuable. The team, the people who handle the cases, they're like the experts, they're the veterans. So find the right people to work with instead of like running around, and use their expertise and experience to reach success. So I would say this would be my top 2 suggestions for anyone.
Thank you. And what was the occasion that to push both of you guys say, okay, this is the time we're gonna go China previously?
Well, it's one of the world's biggest, well, it's the world's largest online market, e-commerce market. So it's a no-brainer. I think one of the things I'd say is 5-6 years ago, it was like a list it and they will come. You could just have an international brand in North America, Europe, Japan, and you just put it on the Chinese marketplace and it sell itself. That's no longer the case. So you've got to think carefully about your positioning, your marketing, your competitive set, your pricing, and I completely agree, Ben, that you need the right partner, yeah? You need the right partner to figure out how you should be selling and where you should be selling, and to leverage the relationships with the platforms. That's the key. So I totally agree. It's like get your marketing right and find the right partner. It's really important.
Yeah, you got to find somebody that knows what they're doing. We have about 1,200 Swanson SKUs. And that's about what we were trying to sell in the Chinese market. So it was really, really tough from a supply chain and from a planning perspective. Pattern has doubled our top line with only 150 of those SKUs. So they found the sweet spot for Swanson. And the lineup in China looks nothing like the product lineup in the US. Not at all. And so there's leading indicators, there's different demographics, there's different consumers across the world. You can't try to use a US blueprint and apply it somewhere egocentrically across the rest of the world. You need to find the culture, the flavor, the preferences of the local market, and that's what Pattern has been able to do for us. They're really smart with boots on the ground in places that you just have to be there to understand that consumer.
Well, thank you guys for the great sharing, and I think this is actually time. We only have about 6-5 minutes. Is there any questions that folks would like to ask? And we're here to answer.
Yeah, I'm curious how big of a role the payments landscape played in your strategy for entering China, and how you navigated that.
Well, in my case, Pattern did it for me, so I didn't need to worry about it, frankly. So all the Alipay integrations, I mean, there's some fantastic automated payment systems in China that the likes of Ali run themselves. And yeah, I didn't have any stress worrying about payments because Pattern set all that up for me. So that's the straightforward answer, I guess.
Yeah, again, we're good at making products and marketing our brand. We're not good at all those things. Pattern is, and so I never touched it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pattern take care of all, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure, we're very transparent. We share, lots of the information, probably not directly with you, but with your teams. Yeah, but I'm glad that, you guys trust us that much, and then, we actually take on lots of the specialties and, running all the operations and nuances for you guys. Yes, that's what our expertise, and that's why, we believe that's what a long-term relationship are for. Yep, and then if there's any other questions. coming here.
Hi, thank you very much. This has been very enlightening. Question for you is with regards, how do you deal with the small problem of counterfeits in China? Being there, I mean, we deal with it here in the US, but
Yep.
so if you can answer that two parts, how do you deal with it in China? And then as far as a lot of the trail here in the US, it always ties back to China and we sort of hit a dead end. So what's your experience been?
You want to answer that?
Is it for me or for Richard? I'm sorry.
Or both?
Oh, okay. So basically for IPPP platform on that, because like this platform is operated by Alibaba, right? So basically you don't have to file trials from here, which goes nowhere. We will have the legal team in China work with the brands here. Just provide the materials, provide the documents, and they're gonna take legal actions. And our platform, if that's within Alibaba's ecosystem, for example, on Taobao, right? Then our operation team will be able to take like further hand regarding their counterfeiting actions. I think Richard will be able to give more details since you have been in the battlefield. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So when we entered cross-border China in 21, half the listings were fake. And over the last 3 years, we've reduced that to about 3 or 4%, and that's been a real team effort. So it's Pattern doing things like QR codes, brand authentication. We've worked with specialist agencies also to close down fake listings. We've taken counterfeiters to court, because if you take a counterfeit in China to court and you win, they're in a labor camp. I mean, they're out of action. And once you take strong legal action against these bad players, they leave and do something else because it's too risky for them. So that's one thing I'd say is like be proactive about entering China cross-border, because if you don't, someone else is going to fill the hole, and it might be someone that you don't want to be filling the hole. And so that's why it's important to be involved. So yeah, we've made great progress. We've really cleaned up the ecosystem in that 3 years. So and it's been that team effort. So Alliance, Pattern, and then specialist brand protection agencies.
Yeah, I think, from a trade partner's perspective, it's not only just on us or a platform or on the brand side, it's actually a joint effort that, as from Pattern's perspective, we also have the Alliance and also co-joined as of the Attorney Law Office in China, helping us to really navigating and helping tailor how to make a lawsuit, and also pursuing continuously on the Alibaba IPP platforms, and then working with the brand's attorney alongside. So it takes all 3 ways of the joint efforts to really pursuing what needs to be done and taken care of in China. And that's basically what happened in Cloco's case before.
Yeah, one thing I did forget to mention is also a lot of other brands in the same boat, yeah. So L'Oreal, Johnson & Johnson, the big cosmetic and beauty players, and everyone works together and gives intel between the parties. And so to figure out, okay, what factory is making fakes? They often make many brands together in the same factory. Yeah. So it's about sharing.
Yep.
And then, once you close that one factory, you're probably going to take out 7 or 8 brands that are being counterfeited. So, yeah.
We have time for one last question. Nope. 3, 2, 1. Thank you.